Three old messages.
Yeah, Mike, it's Pete. Listen, I got the sheet. You know, it's dollar. Where the fuck is that thing? It's what they do with it. Let me see. Hang on a second. It's in my shirt pocket. Look at the fucking thing here. Yeah, it's the Packers 7.5 over the lines, and the lines are at home. And Dallas is 3 points over Miami. Dallas is home. So you can give me a ring. If I'm not here, just leave the message, which two you want. You know what I mean? Just tell me which two you want.
Monday, 11:45 p.m.
Hey guys, welcome to the 1218 show. That was an interesting little intro, I'm sure. Probably wasn't expecting that. That was an old friend of mine. We called him Old Man Pete. His name was Pete Garvey. Passed away in somewhere around 2005, maybe 2004, I guess. Anyway, I wanted to bring him up because it's Derby week, and I love the Kentucky Derby. I'm a big fan of horse racing. I enjoy it. I wouldn't say that I don't follow it year round. I couldn't tell you who's top jockeys or anything like that. But I do follow it around this time of year. It marks spring for me, the beginning of spring, summer. Memorial Day is coming up, and it's just a good kickoff to the best months of the year. I always say that my favorite time of year is May 1st to January 1st. just January, February, March, and April. I could do without. Anyway, that voice recording, I want to talk about it real quick, and then I want to tell you a quick story about Old Man Pete. We'll close it off with that. It's going to be a short one this week. So that voice recording you just heard was a voice message that he left on my phone, on the old school phone, like a real phone. Back when I lived with my roommate Aaron, which you guys have seen or listened to, back in like 2000, like I said, maybe 3 or 4, something like that. The reason I wanted to bring him up in line with the Derby is he's an old school New Yorker, born and raised in Hell's Kitchen. He told me story after story. He kind of took me under his wing when I first moved here into the neighborhood. Started working in this bar. He taught me everything from how to play the daily number to horse racing to gambling on games. Like he was just an old school guy that, if there was something to gamble on, he gambled on it. He wasn't one of those guys that was, his bets were $5 and $10, and he was just a daily, just an old school New Yorker. Like when you see in the old movies when they walk into a bar, like, hey, what was the number? Or, I bet on this horse at an OTB or whatever. Like, those sound kind of cliche, and you see them in countless movies. But those kinds of people, they're real characters in the world, and Old Man Pete was one of them. And we spent a lot of time together towards the end of his life. In his own words, he wasn't the best of a family man, best of father, best of husband. So he was actually still married when he passed away, but he spent the majority of later in his life living alone. So without his family being too much around, he kind of took me under his wing, and I was fully appreciative of it. We had a lot of good times and a lot of good memories, and you'll probably hear him come up often throughout the podcast. So if I ever reference Old Man Pete, this is him. So but horse racing every year, oh man, the Derby and the Preakness and the Belmont, and he would get into he followed it from there's the other one, kind of the prequel to the Derby, and right now I'm blanking on blanking on the name of it, but he would watch that race to start making his picks for the Derby, and he followed the jockeys and knew who their sires were and knew the bloodlines and where they were raised and if they ran in rain or dirt or grass or he just knew. He just paid attention. It was just a hobby of his, and I really kind of took to it. I followed him, and I hit a trifecta for like $780, maybe the second or third year that we were doing it, and it was quite exciting. It was probably the biggest thing I've ever won. And it was just he was so excited. I mean, I think he was more excited about it than I was. He just motherfucker. Oh, and that's the other thing too. I should say that because he was an old dude, old New Yorker. He cursed like a sailor. I mean, he just cursed. Every word was fuck and son of a bitch and this. I mean, cocksucker. And, it was crazy. He just cursed like a sailor, but it was so endearing. You just loved to listen to it. And I know that sounds weird, but it's just maybe you heard it there in the recording. I think he cursed it, and he says, why the fuck did I put this fucking paper? Anyway, that recording. So during football season every year, there's pools all over the place, bars, and this particular one was a doorman that he knew that lived across the way from where he did, or down the block, and so he got in. If there was a pool, he was in it, and so he had to make picks every week, and so. When I was first bartending at Coastal, he would come in. When I'd open up, he would be in within 15 minutes of me opening the door. He'd come in, and he'd bring me a cup of coffee and a daily number. Like I gave him my pick, my number, which was most people just play the same number every time. So he knew my number. So he'd come in with a cup of coffee and a lotto ticket, just my daily number, and then we'd sit there and decide what we're going to pick in our pools, or what horse we're going to gamble on, or what game we're going to bet on, or whatever the case may be. We had just hours and hours and endless hours of conversation, and I really did miss those things when he died. But the point being, it's Derby week, and I'm excited about the Derby. I love the Kentucky Derby. I went once. I got to go in 2008. Me and a buddy of mine, his name's Todd. He has a friend that lives in Louisville. Has this big, huge, beautiful house with. It could fit 3 families in it, and we took one of the corners of the house because it was just him and his 2 children, and so we got to crash in this guy's house and went to the Derby. It was the year Big Brown won, and I think in the day before the Oaks, that was the race that I was trying to think of. The day before, or the race before that Derby was the one where 8 Bells broke her legs, and so we were there for all that. We saw that whole thing and saw Big Brown run the race and whatnot. That was quite a trip. I hope to go again someday. That was fun. We sat in the bleachers. We didn't go to the infield. That's for all the drunk college kids. But we sat in the bleachers, and they were great. We were sitting just past the starting gate, and if you know the course of the Derby, they come out of the starting gate, go all the way around the track, and then pass the starting line again before they're on their final furlong to the finish. So you actually get to see them run by you twice when you're sitting right there in the bleachers. So that was quite an experience. But I think the Derby's fun, so I wanted to just kind of talk about it. I don't know if you guys are into betting, or if there's an OTB in your town still, or what. So many things are on apps now. OTBs have all kind of closed down here in New York, which is also a bummer. That was such an experience to go into these places. You walk in, these old timers sitting there, come on, you bum, run, all day long. They're betting every race here and there. God damn it, SN. So I miss that, but nowadays they can do it on the apps. You can bet the horses or whatnot. So they have specific horse betting apps and whatnot. So I haven't done well in the Derby in the last couple of years. I haven't hit anything, and it's basically because the Derby's the best one to bet of the 3 because there's so many horses. They run 20 horses in the Kentucky Derby, which means that it's really kind of a toss-up. Now, obviously, you always have your heavily favored ones. Now, there have been upsets in the past. The 50-1 shot one several years ago. But if you take one of the if you take the Derby and look at the field, there's always going to be five or six or seven horses that the odds are under 10-1, and then there's other 12 or more horses that the odds are better than 10-1 odds. So I don't want to say if you do your research and you've handicapped them all and all this kind of stuff, that's kind of crazy. Truthfully, just pick some numbers out of a hat and you'll be just as lucky as anything. The reason I'm saying this is that I like to, the Derby's the one where I like to put in some exotics and whatnot, like some trifectas and superfectas. And they're just $1, but I box them up and whatnot. So that they can come in. If I say box them up, that means the horses can come in any order. So let's say I bet 1, 2, 3, 4. I think those are the 4 horses that are going to bet. If you box them, it costs more, but but they can come in any order. So they could come in 3, 4, 1, 2, or any combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that would be. And then the payout is obviously big on those. So I like the Derby because you can often try to pick a long shot or two and stick them in those exotic bets, those trifectas and superfectas. And, the odds are ridiculously against you, but on the off chance that you hit one, the year that I won the $780 or whatever it was, back in, it was Bird something Bird. Mind That Bird, I think was the name of the horse that I got, that I hit the triple on. Anyway, the trifecta was either $1 or $2, I don't remember what I put on it. So the total bet ended up being like $24, but it's I ended up winning $780 on $24, and again, it's not something you can do all the time, but it's fun if you as long as you're not putting the rent on it and putting 30 or 40 bucks on it or 50 bucks, whatever kind of fits in your world. It's quite a fun day. Plus, it's the most exciting minute and a half in sports. It's a minute and a half and boom, it's over, and then that's it. So there's always room for a possibility for something crazy to happen, and it's really one of my favorite events of the year. I would go every year if I was a person of means and had the time and money to do it. I would certainly do it. I really, really enjoy that day. I will say it was kind of cool when I went to the Derby. One of the things that the airport is, a few miles away from where the Churchill Downs is. So you're sitting there in the bleachers, and around, I want to say 1:32 in the afternoon, the flight path was kind of over the racetrack, and all of a sudden you just kind of start seeing more, like every few minutes, a private jet flying in. And by 3:30, 4 o'clock, it was like there was a line of them, just a straight line of private jets flying in. All the big money, the big rich guys and the movie stars and shit that you watch on the TV there, if they didn't get there, if they're not part of the whole pre-thing or whatever, they're all flying in right there just for the event. They fly, they land, they take their car over to the Derby, make their appearance, watch the race, maybe make a bet or two, whatever they do. And then if they don't have dinner or plans afterwards, they're probably back on their jet and on their way out. But in the 2 hours right up to the race, it was just a line of private jets just flying in. It was really something I wasn't. You go there for all this fun stuff about horse racing and end up seeing something like that, and you're like, wow, I didn't expect that. So anyway, this is Old Man Pete's week. It's Derby week. I never bet on the Kentucky Derby or think about the Kentucky Derby without thinking Old Man Pete. It was probably our favorite week of the year when he was alive, and we'd play the horses and bet some ponies and stuff. My 3 favorite horses this year at first glance are 5. I'm sorry, scratch that. 5 is not one of them. Of course, that's probably the one that'll win now. 6, 15, and 19. Those are my 3 picks right now. So if you really have no idea but you want to bet something, I'm taking 6, 15, and 19. I'm going to put them in a $1 trifecta box, and I'll probably take 1 or 2 of them across the board, meaning win, place, and show. Whichever has the worst odds. That's probably who I'll take across the board, just because that's the only way you can win some money. Cool. Well, listen, I started a trivia thread. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. Second trivia should be up here in the next day or two. I'm about halfway done with it right now. It takes a little time to get it all put together, but I'm about halfway done with it now. The podcast will be up first, and the trivia will be up shortly thereafter. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. And you know, I'm going to get a whole bunch of. The plan here is to get a whole bunch of trivias going, because I'd love to find other reasons to drive traffic to the channel. And I feel like trivia is a really neat way to kind of, I don't know, if you're sitting around and you're getting ready to go out, or even if you're just in for the night and can't find what to watch on TV. If I had, I don't know, 25, 30, 40 different trivia things up there, all of them being less than 10 minutes long, they're kind of fun to do, right? I mean, you just get to sit there and guess, you know, play it by yourself if you want, or if you got a group of people, or just you and your significant other, or you and the kids, or whatever. So I'll keep the curse words and things out of most of them. I won't. I'll certainly put up a warning if we ever do a dirty trivia, which would be kind of fun. Okay, cool. Well, listen. Enjoy the week. I hope that you all win a bunch of money playing the Kentucky Derby. I hope my horses come in 6, 15, and 19. And that's about it for this week. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hope you win a lot of money. Much love. This is Mike signing out. Talk to you soon.